Hi, and welcome back to Suricata Crafts. I'm Rebecca. Today we'll be doing a tutorial on how to make my granny flower tote bag, and I'm going to be using hand-dyed cotton and some regular white cotton. This is Hobie's Rainbow Cotton in 8/8. We dyed it using a tie-dye kit, and this is Bernat Handicrafter, and it's just white. So I'm going to be using the yellow for the center of my flowers, these 5 colors for the petals, the white will be used to make the squares and to connect the bag. Come along and let's get started. To make this bag, you're going to need 26 of the granny flower squares. I have 14 in purple and 12 in blue if you wanted to make this version. In my new version, I'll be using 5 different colors, so I'll have 5 squares of each and 1 more square for this top flap that helps to close the bag. I'm going to start by making all of the center of the flower. So I'll start with a slip knot, and I'm using a 4mm hook. So I'm going to chain 4, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch. Chain 1, and now I'm going to put 8 single crochets into my ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to slip stitch into my first stitch, chain 1, and cut my yarn. Pull it through and tighten it. If you want, you can pull the back string, which will close the center a bit, and then set it aside. I'm going to make 26 of these, and I'll meet you back here. The next step we're going to do is to make the flower. Each petal is a cluster of 4 double crochets joined at the top and then a chain 2. So we're going to get started. I like to start a few stitches before my join. So I'm just going to insert my hook, pull through, and the first petal you need to chain 3. I'm going to yarn over, insert into the loop, and I like to trail my yarn behind so the ends get worked in and I have less sewing to do. So we're going to yarn over and pull through 2, leaving 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through, and pull through 2. We now have 3. Yarn over, pull through 2 for 4, and for your first petal, that's it. We're going to pull through all 4, chain 1, chain 2. Now the second petal is slightly different. We're going to yarn over, insert into the loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through, and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and once more yarn over, pull through 2, and you now have 5 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 5, and then chain 2, and that's how we're going to do all the petals around the flower. Yarn over, insert. This one is a little tight because it's where our join is. So we're going to pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the loop and pull through 2. That's 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, so we're going to yarn over, pull through, there we go, pull through 2 for 4, yarn over, pull through 2, that's 5 on the hook, pull through all 5 and chain 2. We're just going to continue this all the way around the flower, so for a total of 8 petals. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. Pull through and pull through again. Chain 1. And we're going to cut. Pull through. We're going to pull this tight. So now we have 8 petals and our center. And we're going to make 26 of these. I'll join you when they're all finished. Now that you've got all of your flowers crocheted up, we're going to move on to making the granny square. Next, I'm going to show you how to turn your flower into a granny flower. So insert your hook into one of the spaces between the petals, front to back, and pull your white yarn through the gap. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to keep my yarn along the top of my flower, and then the ends get crocheted in as I move along. So we're going to yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, and we're going to do a double crochet. We're going to make 3 of them to start our first corner. And as you can see, I'm just catching the white in my loops at the back. We're going to move to the next space, so that would be the chain 2 space between the clusters. We're going to yarn over, insert, and do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. So this is moving along the top. We're going to jump over to the next space, do 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and to turn the corner, we're going to chain 2, and then do 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. So if we look here, this is our corners, and this is the edge running along the top. So we're going to move to the next space and chain 3 to move down the side. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to make our next corner in the next space. We're going to 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and 1, 2, 3 double crochets. So now we have 3 of our corners made. We're going to do the same thing, 3 double crochets in the center of the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Move over to the fourth corner. 1, 2, 3, chain 2 to turn the corner, and then 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. So we have our 4 corners. We just are going to go and finish this last one here. So I've just realized that I have 9 petals, which should be 8. Not a big deal. What I'm going to do, instead of going in between these spaces, I'm going to go into the top of this petal. I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch gathering the top of the petal. And I'm going to do my 3 double crochets into that stitch instead. It might look a little funny now, but when it's all part of the bag, you won't even notice. And 3. So we're back to where we started. We're going to insert into the same loop we started in. So we're going to put 2 double crochets right here. There's 1 and 2, and we're going to put a stitch, a 3rd chain up from the bottom, just a slip stitch, chain 1, and there we have our square. For the next row, we've chained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which will be a double crochet and a chain 2. So we're going to add 3 double crochets into this space, into our corner. We have 1, 2, and 3 to turn our corner. We're going to jump the first cluster to the space, put 3 double crochets in there. We're going to jump over to the next chain 2 space, do 3 double crochets there, and then move to our corner, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to continue along, putting 3 double crochets in each of the chain 2 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're back to a corner. We're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Three, chain 2, and 3. We're going to continue along with 2 sets of 3 double crochets. I'm going to turn a corner. One, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3. We're going to continue along the last edge. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go into the last space here. We're going to do 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. We're going to insert in the 3rd stitch out of 5 and slip stitch to close. We're going to chain 5 to start the next row, and I'm just going to show you how nicely our square is put together. Now, the next row is where we're going to join our 2nd square to our 1st. How we're going to do this is we're going to crochet our 1st side and then connect it on our 2nd side, crochet our 3rd side and last side. I'm going to show you how to do that. We've got our 5 chains. We're going to do 3 double crochets in our corner, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to follow along and do 1, 2, 3 sets of double crochets, 3 sets of 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3. Now, to start connecting, we're going to start the corner with our 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to take our blue square, insert from top to bottom, and pull up a loop and slip stitch. I'll show you again. Take our loop, we're going to go top to bottom, pull up a loop, and slip stitch it closed. Then we're going to chain 2, and just in the first square we're going to yarn over and do our 3 clusters. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to insert top to bottom in the first space of our blue square, top to bottom, draw up a loop and slip stitch in. Then we're going to move on to the space of our purple square and do our 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to move along and insert top to bottom in the next empty space, draw up a loop and slip stitch in. We're going to make our 3 double crochets in the next space of the purple square. One, 2, and 3. We're going to travel along and insert into the next space of the blue, top to bottom, pull up a loop and slip stitch, and go back to your purple square for your 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go back to the blue. So what we're doing is we're connecting the squares after every cluster. Top to bottom in the space, pull up a loop, slip stitch, and now we're to the corner. So it looks like there's more space on the blue square because there is. We're missing an entire row along the purple side. So we're going to make our 3 double crochets in the corner, and that's 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to insert right in the corner, top to bottom, pull up a loop and slip stitch. Then we're going to chain 2 so the purple square can turn the corner, and then we're going to do our 3 double crochets in the corner space. We've got our corner turned, we've got joined all the way along the squares, and now we're going to travel along and finish our purple square down to where we started. We're going to do it the same way we've done the last 2 rows. You're going to put a cluster of 3 double crochets in each space and 3 double crochets and a chain 2 in the corner. I'll meet you up when I reach back here. I've come around, finished the 3rd corner, worked our way down, and now all I have to do is join this corner. This corner can sometimes look a little bit tricky because of this chain 5. So what you need to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches and grab your third one. If you give that a little tug, it clearly shows you where the corner should be. So we're going to put 2 double crochets in the space, and you're almost wrapping the bottom of your chain 5 with the double crochets. And then we're going to join up with a slip stitch to the third stitch out of 5 that we started with. Slip stitch. We're going to pull up 1 stitch, snip it, and pull it through and fasten off. So there we've attached our first squares. What I'm going to do now is the exact same thing I've done with this one in square 2, 3, and 4. We're going to attach it exactly the same way along one side, and I'll meet you back up when we're done. Now that you have the 4 squares attached to your center square, I'm going to teach you how to join using 2 edges. It's not difficult, just takes a little bit of practice doing the awkward corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach along this edge, chain 2, attach here, and along this edge. I have my pink square done with row 1, 2, 3, 4, and the first row of 5 up until the corner. So I'm going to chain 3 into my corner square, 3 double crochets, we're going to go down through our corner square here, our corner space, yarn over, pull up a loop, and slip stitch. We're going to attach the first edge the same way we've done on all the other edges, and I'll meet you when we get to this corner. I'm ready to stitch my 3 double crochets into the corner. We have 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the chain space of the corner of the purple square. We're just going to go down, pull up a loop, and slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 2 to turn our corner. 1, 2. And instead of going up the side of the pink, first we're going to slip stitch into the corner square of the green. So the chain 2 space on the green square. So we're going to go down. You need to make sure you're going into this space, not into this space. The chain 2 space, not the joining space. And not the chain 2 space on your blue square. So we're going to slip stitch, chain 2, skip that one, go into this one. And then we're just going to turn our work, and we're going to do our double crochets into the corner of our pink square. 3, and then we're going to continue along the same way we did on our first edge by slip stitching into the first space after the 3 double crochets. Go down, pull up a loop, and pull it through to slip stitch. We're going to continue with 3 double crochets into the next space. Slip stitch in the next space, and 3 double crochets. We're going to slip stitch into the next space, three double crochets, and then 3 double crochets into the corner of the pink square. That's 3. To finish off, we're going to go into the corner space of the green one, slip stitch, chain 2, turn our work, and continue along the edge to finish off our 5th row. You've attached all your squares together, so now you have 3 by 3, making 9 squares. The next step is we're going to take it by the corners and fold it in half on the diagonal. This is now the bottom of your bag. Our next square I've got ready. I've got rounds 1, 2, 3, 4 done in the first row of 5. What we're going to be doing with this square is attaching it here to make the first side of the bag. So what we're going to do is it's going to attach one side here, and this side is going to attach to this one. So we need to keep it folded in half, and we're going to go down this side, fold it, and go up this side. So I'll take you through it step by step. We're going to slip stitch in the chain 2 of the corner from top to bottom, chain 2, oops, and then do our 3 double crochets in the first space, slip stitch into the first space, 3 more double crochets, we're going to slip stitch into the next space, 3 double crochets, slip stitch in the next space, three more double crochet, this is our corner. We're going to slip stitch in the last space and then do our 3 double crochets into the corner space of our blue square. Now, we need to go into the corner of the green square with a slip stitch, chain 2, go back into the corner of our blue square for the other 3 double crochets, and now we're going to fold everything back up again. So we're going to fold along here and we're going to fold along here. This is going to make it easier to travel back up the side of the green that we need. So we've come down this side and we'll be going up this side. We're going to slip stitch into the first space and then do our 3 double crochets into our blue square. Slip stitch into the green square to attach it, 3 double crochets in the blue square, slip stitch in the green, and 3 double crochets in the blue. So we slip stitch into the corner of this one and we need to fudge it a bit. So we're going to do 3 double crochets into the corner square, you're actually going in the space between your squares. Just for this, the 2 corner square, the 2 side pieces, the corners of your purse. Now we're going to travel up the last side just like we've always done. Chain 2, double crochet into the space, and travel all the way up. We've got the corner square attached, so when you open it, it's in a point. You're going to attach another one over here in the same way, and we're going to attach the next square on here like this. And you're going to flip it and attach one here on the other side. I'll meet up with you when we've done these two squares, our corner square, and these two squares. We now have our two side squares attached, and then these three and the three on the other side. The next thing we're going to do is attach the next side square. I've got it half attached. We're going to fold it over and go up this side the same way we did when we attached the blue ones. Then we're going to attach 1, 2, the other side, and then 1, 2 on the back. Welcome back. We've now reached the point that we have our sides built up. That's as high as they'll go. And our next step is to add 1, 2, 3 diamonds on one side, and 1, 2 on the other side. You have 5 diamonds left to make. So we're going to have 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, and 1 here that's going to fold in half and attach down here. We've got the bag completed. Up to the top we've got 2 squares, 2 squares, and then the 1 square that's going to come over and hook here. So the next thing we're going to do is a single crochet border all the way around the edges. You can do it in one continuous border. I'm going to start over here in this corner on the side. I'm just going to pull it through and do 2 chains, and then I'm going to just travel along the top. I'm going to put 1 stitch in every space. It's really easy to follow along and find your stitches. Now that I've reached the top of the first square, I'm going to single crochet just into the loop, and I'm actually catching the loose end in behind again. I'm going to make 5 single crochets into the loop. And then continue down the other side. When I get down to the bottom here, I'm going to make 1 single crochet into this space and then 5 into the space at the top. So 1 in the valleys, 5 in the peaks. Now we've got a beautiful edge all the way around to finish off the top. It's a good time for you to go to the inside, sew in all your edges, or cut the loose ends that you worked in as you were going. Next thing we're going to do is to work on the handles. We're going to attach the front over to the front and the back over to the back. We're going to be working into the chain space at the top of the square. So I'm going to insert my hook. We're going to work all the way around these single crochets that we've added with our border. It helps add stability and stops it from stretching out as you use it. So I'm just going to pull up a loop. This is my long string. I'm going to chain 1, and working around this end, I'm going to single crochet, and I'm just going to chain as I go up, wrapping around the loose end. It just saves you a step from having to sew it in a few minutes. I'm just working a line of single crochets around the end here, and then stretch it out and your loose end will almost disappear, and then we can switch to just chaining. The length of the chain that you make is up to you. You can make it as long or as short as you want. I like to have mine just go over my shoulder and have the bottom of the bag hit just below my elbow. So as you go, you can just stretch it across and measure how far it is to your other point. And when you've reached a length that you think is long enough, then I'll show you what to do next. I'm going to add about another 4 inches or 10 centimeters onto my strap. Keeping in mind that your strap will stretch a bit, as will the squares themselves. Okay, now working into the chain space on your other square, your opposite square. So this is attached to the front, and this one's attached to the front. We're going to attach to the front. So we're going to work a few single crochets to anchor it securely to the chain 2 space. Working backwards, working back up our chain, I'm going to do double crochets because I want the width that it provides. So I'm just going to double crochet all the way back to where we started. Working in double crochets, when you get back to the spot where you were working in your loose end, I stick my hook in and then make sure that I wrap my yarn around all of the other threads. I'll leave the other strands of yarn. So just leaving one loop out. And that way your loose end will be wrapped up in there good and tight and won't come out. I've crocheted to the end in double crochets, and now I'm inserting my hook into the chain space at the top of the diamond, or where it connects to the strap. So I'm just inserting and doing a few single crochets all the way around those stitches to give it something nice and sturdy to grip onto. I'm going to cut my thread, pull it through, and then I'll weave my ends as complicatedly as I can up through the strap. The more weaving you do, the better it will stay. For the final step in making our bag, I'm going to sew a button on here. Now, generally a yarn needle won't fit through the holes of your button. So I use these. These are designed for when you have braces to thread the the floss between your teeth, I think. They're made by Gum, G-U-M, and I just bought these on Amazon for a few dollars. So what I do is I take one, and it's just a loop of plastic, and it's joined at one end. I poke this through my work, thread the yarn through, put my button on, and pull it through. Then I go down through the button, down through my work, put my yarn through the loop again, and pull it through. It's so easy, and it means you can use any button that you like. Now I'm going to just flip it to the inside, tie a double knot, nice and tight, and I'll work these ends going up these edges here. Now, when you want to close your bag, you can take the top loop, which is your chain space that we put 5 single crochets in when we did our single crochet border, and this will slip right around the button. So now the top of your bag has 2 straps and a buttoned flap. If you like, you can go ahead and line your bag with fabric. I did this with my first bag, but I'm going to leave my second bag unlined, and I'm going to see which one wears better. Does it make that much of a difference without the fabric? I'll let you know what I find out. Thank you for joining me for my first tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and I'd love to see the bags that you make. If you would like to join my Facebook group at Suricata Crafts, you feel free to post your pictures in the group, or you can tag me on Instagram at rebekah.watkins.shaw. Thank you again so much for joining me. I've really enjoyed our time together. Please find me on Facebook or Instagram, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any more of my videos. Maybe there'll be some more tutorials. I love it when you leave comments. I love to hear what you think. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and happy crafting!